You know, when the Edmonton Oilers actually signed Jeff Skinner, I was actually kind of jealous. I was hoping that the Maple Leafs would get him. Honestly, I still kind of stand by that, albeit that Jeff Skinner hasn't had the start that we thought he was going to have in his Edmonton Oilers career. There's been increasing rumors that the Edmonton Oilers might kind of want to move on from him, and I'm going to go over each side why that might not make sense or why it might make sense, and we'll go over that. Now, when he signed with them, I thought that this was an excellent value. Let's not forget, he was a pretty productive player. Like, I'm not saying he's a star player. He's kind of like an inconsistent winger. This is why I don't necessarily think that they should get rid of him just yet, because as an inconsistent winger, you haven't gotten his best from him. So why would you trade him at a low value, right? Now, Jeff Skinner has never played a playoff game in his life. He's never set foot on NHL playoff ice. You know, I guess there is something in me that really wants to see Jeff Skinner succeed and really makes me want to see Jeff Skinner. You know, when players just have never played in the playoffs. I remember Ron Hainsey, I think, was a player that never played in the playoffs until he played for the Penguins, right? You know, you just want these players that have played 1,000 games in the National Hockey League to you know, just get the taste of the playoffs. Every player should have a taste of the NHL playoffs, even if they don't win a cup. Every player should be able to go on at least one run in their lifetime, in my opinion. Now, this year he has 7 goals and 7 assists. That is not what the Oilers expected from him. Now, we did get a rumor today that if the Oilers did want to trade him, it would not be easy. He would not invite a trade, and honestly, I completely understand it from his point of view. You know, the Oilers did have to pony up to bring him to Edmonton, right? Like, they paid him about $3 million, and let's not forget, he has a no movement clause. So correct me if I'm wrong, but a no movement clause is where the team cannot move him. They can't even put him on waivers. A no trade clause, he can't be traded, right? So that's the difference between the two clauses, and he is not going to make it easy because he would have to fully, you know, accept that. So it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like they're just going to be able to get rid of him easily. Now, I do think that the Edmonton Oilers should hold off on this. He's actually starting to play a little bit better. In his last game, he scored a gorgeous goal, by the way. And he's actually starting to legitimately play better. So why would you give him away now? It doesn't make sense. And from his perspective, it's never going to make sense, too, because he wants to play in playoff hockey. And if you've been watching the Oilers, for the last number of years, and last year and this year, they are a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Now, talking about the Oilers in general, though, I do honestly think that they need another defenseman, maybe a little bit more depth in scoring. Obviously, I really do hope that Jeff Skinner, gets it going, because I'm telling you right now, if Jeff Skinner can get it going for the Edmonton Oilers, I'm telling you right now, that could offer the depth scoring that Edmonton does really need. Honestly, in my opinion, I actually respect Skinner's determination to stay in the lineup. I really do kind of respect that. Like, I don't like it when players go silently into the night, and him showing passion like that, honestly, is really important. So I really hope the Oilers give him more of a chance. Now, obviously, if they healthy scratch him constantly, it's going to become an issue. Because here's the thing, from the management perspective or the coaching perspective, if you really wanted to actually move on from Jeff Skinner, there are ways to get it done even with a no-move clause. Like, for example, they could just straight up continue to scratch him and say, hey, if you don't allow us to move you, you're just scratched. You're going to sit up in the press box the entire time. That is a quick way to convince an NHL player to move on, because they're sitting there thinking, well, what the heck? I don't want to be in the press box the entire time. And then they could try to trade him perhaps to like another playoff team or something like that, right? And again, if he could get more shifts with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, again, it just is what it is. Sometimes players like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, to some degree, can actually be harder to play with because players like that play at such an upper echelon level that it's almost difficult to keep up with them. Like, you might think like, oh, hey, I could just be a scrub playing with those guys. I actually really don't like when people think like that, because these guys like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are elite players. These guys are superstars. They're not easy to play with. I would argue they're actually difficult to play with and keep up with. Their brains think at such a high level. You know, look at Mitch Marner. You know, you put Pontus Holmberg with him, and Pontus Holmberg's in the slot, and he's surprised that the pass even landed on his tape, because he just doesn't think at nearly that high of a level, right? So it is impressive when certain players can play with high level players like Zach Hyman, for example, right? So I honestly do believe that Kurt Levins is 100% correct here in the way that, like, I'm telling you, he is not just going to give up his spot. This guy is obviously this is why he got the no move clause. He doesn't want to just get moved. Like, this is how it is from players' perspectives, where, you know, they're sitting here being like, listen, I don't want to move. I just signed here, right? Now, the potential risks of keeping Skinner might boil down to, well, perhaps it might make sense to move him so you can get another body in the lineup and clear up cap space. So that would be the general risk of keeping him. Like, perhaps you could argue that, like, if they were able to get another forward in here that's good quality depth for around $3 million, which is very possible, by the way, that would probably be beneficial to the Oilers if Jeff Skinner doesn't perform up to his capabilities. You know, the benefits is, again, if he is able to perform even 20% better than he is right now, that's a huge addition to the Oilers lineup, a massive addition. I mean, you know, let's say he's on pace for about a 25 goal season, like, you know, and especially that player in the playoffs, he is going to be eager in the playoffs, right? Now, if you are an Edmonton Oilers fan, please drop it below. I am very interested to see here. I want to hear what you're going to say about this. I've been watching the Edmonton Oilers pretty closely this year. I'm very interested. I honestly think that they are a solidified Stanley Cup contender. So tell me what you think below. If you guys can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.